Welcome everybody. Welcome to another live video here in my channel. I am Sotiris Oreopoulos, and with me, as you see, Jake is here with us. Hello, Jake.
Hi, Soteris. Thank you for having me.
And this video is a different one. We will not talk about strategies, boost, tactics, tracks, or any of these things that we are talking in all our videos. We are not going to run any tracks. We are going to talk about something we have, let's say, seen. Um we suspect something and we want to share it with you. The last few weeks, we suspect that there is a change in the dynamics of the drivers, of the at least top four drivers: Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Lando
Lando
Norris,
Norris.
and George Russell. Um, well, before the last update, I think we could see everyone who had maxed out these four drivers that the top pick, the top two that they were using was Max Verstappen and Norris. But now, the last few weeks, we have observed that many of the top players that have maxed out these drivers, they are now using Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. So, did something change? Uh, it's it's something that bothered us, and well, we have our special in FNA Greece, our team. We have a specialist, an analyst for these things. This is Jake. Well, he's laughing, but when we have things like this, questions like this, Jake is one of the best players in the Greek community and one of the top players in the game. So he has maxed out these drivers. So uh, we
That's
we
that's a problem, Soteris. I have maxed out everything, so you have me as a guinea pig to do all the experiments.
yep, that's it. And you ran, you went and make an experiment. Let's say running
Yeah,
120 uh, um,
qualifiers.
qualifiers. So, what I mean, qualifiers, look at this. This is the screenshots that Jake has given us from these qualifiers. Um, in all of the tracks, the first you chose Verstappen versus Hamilton to see who is the quickest in in
Track.
every track, yes. And then you see the results here. We don't need to see them all. We will see the results later. And then Jake went for the second.
Norris and Russell.
Norris and Russell. When is it?
Yeah,
Well, here we are.
here.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Jake, it's
So
up to you
more
now to tell
or
us what
less,
happened.
thank you, Soteris. More or less, I ran at least two, maybe three, in some tracks even four qualifiers with every set of drivers. And I screenshot the results of the qualifying and then put it in a file in order to compare times and positions. Bear in mind that this does not tell you, this is the result of this experiment will not tell you who is the best driver. It gives you the indication, but this has to do with the qualifier, what position they end up. So it gives you a very good estimate about what is the performance of the driver and what is his attitude in the race. As expected, we saw that there is a very small difference between Verstappen and Hamilton. Also, a very small difference between Norris and Russell.
Yes, but
What I really want to
this wasn't the thing. This wasn't the
the
what
case
was
before.
happening 1 month ago?
No. 1 month ago, usually Verstappen ended up much ahead compared to Hamilton, and Hamilton was second even to Norris times. But as you mentioned before, most of the good players were using Verstappen and Norris as a drivers duo instead of Verstappen and Hamilton. What I want you to understand is this: one of the most important things in qualifiers is consistency. Why? Because the higher the consistency, the less is the discrepancy between the times. For example, Hamilton has a consistency of 80, which is the top. It cannot go more. That means that Hamilton, in every qualifier, he is going to do exactly the same time. His time doesn't change.
And he did that.
On the other hand, yes, and he did that. Every qualifier, he has exactly the same time. On the other hand, Verstappen has less consistency, so there is a small discrepancy. Norris, who has the smaller consistency, I think he's 70, has the highest gap. And that's why you can see Norris sometimes finishing second in Montreal, let's say, and some other times fifth, because the differences are very small. Even a few tenths of seconds or can play a huge role
Yes.
in the classification. So bear that in mind, and this is what we are going to compare here is the averages. Not for Hamilton, because for Hamilton is exactly the same time, so the average is the actual time. But for the other three drivers, we took the averages. That means that there is always a possibility that it can go above or below, especially for Norris and Russell, who have lower consistency.
Mm-hmm.
It's really very hard. For example, if you stop in a screenshot, you can see if you have to here is Singapore. You see here that Singapore, the first race, Russell did 42 seconds, 156, and then the second race, 42, 117. And you see, in the first race with this time, he finished fifth, and in the second race, first.
Yes.
And that's all because of consistency.
Yes,
So it's not
and
kind of
Norris, it's 42 110, and in the second the second try, the second go, he went 42 155. So it's a difference, a big difference.
So please keep that in mind, that the times that you are going to see are the averages. It means, especially for the other three drivers, not for
Yes.
Hamilton, but for the other three drivers, they can go up or they can go down.
Okay, so you ran
let's go and see the results.
Almost 120 qualifications in every. Okay, so let's.
In total, yes.
Yes, in total. So let's see our first table here, and we have the averages of every driver.
In all 19 tracks.
Yes, in all 19 tracks. So let's start. Well, we are not going to see it very.
Analyze that.
Yes, very. We are not going to analyze that because it will take a lot of time. But we can pick points, some tracks. So we see in Abu Dhabi that Norris comes second in the fourth between the four drivers. First is Verstappen, then Norris.
But again, this is the average.
Yes, this is the average.
For Hamilton, how many times he runs Abu Dhabi? It's always
he will
going
be
to
like
be 30
yes.
seconds 5:02. But Norris can be 35:20 or 34:90. I don't know. So it's a gamble if you put Norris.
Yes.
He can end up first. He can end up fifth.
And it's we will see in the other graph that this is the only the only track that Norris
is
second.
But in general, yes, you see that there is a big difference between the top two drivers, Verstappen and Hamilton, compared to Norris and Russell. In some cases, it's very significant.
Yes, I'm saying we were talking about Singapore. Max Verstappen, the average is 42.113. Hamilton is 42.115. and then we have a little bit of gap of 2.002 seconds, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which gap can give you even 2 or 3 positions.
Yes.
I mean, it makes sense.
And I
It's
see it in every. This gap is almost in every track between
yeah.
the top two, which is now Verstappen and Hamilton, and 3 and 4, which are Norris and Russell. Let's see it clearly. What happened in our second graphic here?
Yeah. Just to say that all the experiments were made with the 4 drivers. None of them was boosted. They were just 8 maxed out, but not boosted. The normal. This is the normal
Yes,
behavior.
this week
So
was the best week to try this because
yeah.
Latifi and Magnussen is boosted, so we could do it this
And
week.
the event has not started. Has not
Yes,
started yet.
explain us
The,
now this graphic.
okay, this is the position that between the 4 of them. The position that each one finished. Not the position, the comparable position. So which was among the 4, who was first, who was second, third, and fourth. So you can see that Verstappen and Hamilton were between 1 and 2. Hamilton, I think, was
A little bit
in
more, a little bit.
in a few cases more first.
Yes,
And then the other hand, between Russell, we can say that in most cases Russell was third instead
yes,
of
he is,
Norris.
he is. I think in the battle for the third place, Russell has a little bit of a bigger edge than in the
Yeah.
battle between Max Verstappen and Hamilton.
Yep.
Russell
And
seems a little bit better than Norris. Hamilton and Max Verstappen, they seem almost equal. The difference is
and yeah, and also he has a better consistency compared to Norris, so he's more predictable.
yes,
But again, this is only for the qualifiers. For the race, it's a different story. For example, Norris has much better fuel compared to Norris. So if
yes,
someone plays with in red, like my friend Sotir is here, full throttle, maybe Norris is more preferable, even if he starts 1 or 2 positions behind. So
yes,
it all has to do with the style of each player and how they are using their drivers. All we say here is the qualifications and how they end up based on dry conditions. Also, this is important to say, all the
yes,
qualifiers
of
were
course.
in dry conditions. In wet conditions, things change. You know that Norris is very good. Russell and Hamilton is also good. Verstappen not so good in wet conditions.
So I'm gonna ask you one question first.
And
Tell
before
me.
you ask
Okay.
me, I was thinking
Yes.
how this can be useful to someone. So imagine you have Norris 8 and Verstappen and 7. So you definitely go with Norris because it's the only driver you have in 8, but you don't know which one of Verstappen or Hamilton you may choose. So based on this graph, you can see which tracks Verstappen is better and use him, and which tracks is Hamilton better and use Hamilton instead. And the same applies, you understand, with all the
Yes.
other combinations.
So maybe we are in a new era of FNA class where we should see which track we are going to run and pick the best drivers for it. If we don't have,
100%
yes,
Sotiris.
if we don't have, well, if someone has Max and Lewis in the same level and bigger than the other drivers, okay, it's a no-brainer. You are going to choose these two. But
Yeah.
in situations like what you described, it could
Absolutely.
be
it makes sense what you say, and this does not apply only to the drivers. It applies also to parts. You can see that some setups with parts work better in certain tracks compared to other tracks. Each track is different, and you have to think about it. I understand that in duels you have no options, but at least during the events when you know the tracks, there is a way to set up your car and your drivers much better and achieve the maximum results.
Mhm.
And this is what we are trying here to do to help people understand which track goes with suits more to which
Mhm.
driver.
Well, let's go back to the drivers. You are a player that has won the first place in the champion. You are competing with other maxed out players. You all have maxed out all your parts and all your drivers, so you can pick the best of the best. You can pick what you think is the best available. You are going on a race, on an event, the New Year's event. Which two drivers are you gonna pick?
If it doesn't rain, definitely Verstappen and Hamilton, no doubt.
Mhm. 1 month ago, what were your two picks?
No brainer. I mostly used Verstappen and Norris.
Okay.
Hamilton was nowhere near, and that was breaking my heart because
Yeah, I know.
everybody knows
You
I'm
are
a
a
huge
fan.
fan of Lewis, but I never used him because he was not
Yes.
good.
Yes. So, second. Oh,
And I see the same with Russell as well. I
yes.
think
Yes.
both of the Mercedes drivers have been improved after the
Yes.
last updates.
Uh, Second question. What about other drivers? Let's leave the top four and go to Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Alonso.
That's my next experiment. I want to run. I can see. Listen, I never use them, so I cannot have a personal opinion. But I observe a lot the bots when I run duels, and I see. I mean, it's obvious that Hamilton has improved. In previous duels, you could see Hamilton between fifth and sixth. Now, easily between two and three, 3, 4. I mean, competing with Verstappen. I have also seen Leclerc and Sainz, not so much Sainz, but Leclerc doing much better. Perez, not so much. Gasly used to be one of the good drivers, especially when boosted. His performance was great. But to be honest, this you need to experiment. You need to have. I mean, here you have solid times. You
Yes.
have um, you have proof. You have evidence. It's not something that it's a feeling. It's hard evidence. So this is what we need to do for the rest of the drivers in order to understand who is better and who is worst, at least on the qualifying part and how they behave during the track.
And here comes the song uh, who says when we have a problem in F1 class, who you gonna call?
I don't know.
Jake.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like Ghostbusters. Well, this is the
Okay.
well,
I don't know if I'm going to do it for all drivers, but definitely for the two Ferrari drivers, I want to do it.
and
Maybe
maybe
also
Perez.
Alonso, Gasly.
Not Perez.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the second
I,
set will be Perez, Gasly, or Perez, Alonso. What do you think?
mm, well, you can try these three, see who are the top two in the beginning, in your first
Okay,
qualifications, and then stick to the best two.
okay.
B-
But definitely the two Ferrari drivers, I want to do it.
Because okay, it's nice to have Max Verstappen and Hamilton and Russell and Norris, but many players of the game uh, don't have them
Yeah,
in high levels, and they use other drivers too. So it would be a good help if we could
yeah.
do it. Well, if you could do it and we could present it.
But listen, at this point of the game, I
Mhm.
think most of the good players have at least one, maybe two of these four drivers
Yes,
maxed out.
yes, yes, of course,
At
yes.
least
But
one.
there are many
Uh,
players that they are starting. They have started the game 1, 2 months, 3 months ago, and they are in, yes, this position that uh, they are not able to use these drivers. So, can we safely say that something has changed?
I think yes. I would vote for yes. If I had to put my money somewhere, yes, I would say definitely yes. Because I told you I was trying Hamilton because of my personal preference a lot of times, and I
Yes.
was very disappointed. You remember, he didn't start, he didn't turn, he
Remember
didn't do a lot
what
of
I
things.
was telling about
Uh,
Hamilton?
yeah, and I said, "Oh my God!" And then I saw also because I always, especially when I play in duels or in event with good players, I always check their setup,
Hmm.
and nobody was using Hamilton. Nobody. Uh, and now this has changed.
I'm gonna tell you this
Definitely.
because we had this conversation a few times. Well, about a month ago, maybe more. Um, I was telling you that every time I play, because my two best drivers, I have maxed out Russell and Hamilton. I'm a Ferrari fan and I have maxed out the Mercedes drivers. Okay, that's a little bit awkward. These are the drivers that I'm going in almost every race. When I was when they were going in qualifications, they were running in the qualifications. 7 out of 10 times, Russell was better than Hamilton. I have made the same experiment you did today and yesterday, and now Hamilton is always the best between them in the qualifications, and he usually has a gap of 2 places,
Two, 3 places,
at
yes.
least two
Depending on the
places.
on
So
depending on the opponent.
yes, I have seen a big difference
Yeah.
in less than a month, maybe. So,
Maybe
Jake.
they found out that you maxed out Hamilton and they decide to boost him. I don't
Yes,
know.
to help me a little bit.
To help you. This poor guy, I mean, yeah, he maxed out Hamilton. We should make him better.
So, do we have something else to say about this,
Oh,
or are we
no,
going to come
stay
back with
tuned.
yes?
Absolutely. Stay tuned. Watch the space. We will come back with more results and more data.
And
Easy
with
to
other
express opinion, but
drivers?
we always try. Yes, we always try to back it up with data, so you have a full picture, and the decision is yours.
Okay, so Jake, thank you very much for doing this for not only for the team, not only for here for the channel, but for all the fans of and the players of
No
FNA
problem.
class.
It's gonna
And
cost you 1,000 bucks.
so thank you very much, and we will be using you a lot in the future.
Thank you. My
So
pleasure.
okay.
See you. See you.
Enjoy your the rest of your evening. Thank you guys for watching this. Of course, subscribe, like the video. Stay tuned because more videos like this, strategies, live events are coming. So don't miss out. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye.